sound like it. You're sick of people shooting each other.
Yeah,
and
well, that was because
you're
of
cranky, you're punchy.
Yeah, I'm punchy.
Why are you punchy? You sound like $1 million. I've been listening to you all morning. What's wrong with him, Frank?
We've been having fun. You have allergies, don't you, a little bit?
I have been sick for about 6 years. I got a cold. I'm not kidding you. I've never had a cold this long in my life. It must be out. I'm starting to think maybe it is allergies, but I got sick election week, which was a disaster.
Wow.
So I'm doing election coverage late at night, that Tuesday night when the Democrats took the House, which was already depressing enough for me.
I know.
And I got this bad cold. I had a fever, had 103-degree fever here in the studio.
What, you did? And you came to work?
Well, it's the midterms. It's like our Super Bowl. I had to be dragged in here. They had to wheel me in.
You make us all look bad.
Well, no,
you show up.
I'm a giver this way. So then the next morning, I figured I had to do the radio show the next day. Sick as a dog the next day, got through it, and then that was it. I went out for the count for about 5 days, stayed in bed, missed Thursday, Friday. But do you know that was 2 weeks ago? That was 2 weeks ago today.
Maybe it's something.
Still got that cold.
I feel all allergies in my eyes. I could see it in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I could see it. And then I took Claritin, which worked this morning. And we better get sponsors. I hope the sales team. And then I take this Nasacort, but you can only use it so much, you know?
You got to be careful with nasal spray. Do you know that when I was in college, I got addicted to nasal spray? Let me tell you, Afrin is bad.
But
Afrin has whatever ingredient they have in that. Yeah. And here's a quick story. I had first gotten my first job in television. I was a local weather guy in Dayton, Ohio, my hometown of Dayton, Ohio. And I had just gotten hired.
There's got to be video somewhere.
Oh, no. I was pretty good. It was Mike Gallagher's Weather in the Weather. They made me stand out in the backyard like an idiot in the rain with an umbrella and do the weather. They thought that was great at 6 in the morning. It was a great gig. And it was $18,000 a year. I was on top of the world. When I first got the gig, and I'm like a 20-year-old kid, and I got my first TV job, and I get this cold. I got allergies. So I started taking Afrin. Every 6 hours became every 4 hours, became every 2 hours. Yeah. I had that bottle in my front pocket, and then you know what, guys? After, because your sinuses react where they need it. Do you know one night I did the 11 o'clock news, I came home to bed, 2 in the morning, I woke up, there is blood on the walls, there's blood on the ceiling. It looked like a crime scene. It looked like a massacre.
It breaks the membrane.
It broke an artery in my nose.
Oh my God.
I had to go to the hospital, and they took like an hour to get the bleeding to stop.
You're kidding me. So you were a young kid.
I was 21 years old. But stay away. Do not get addicted to nasal spray.
Between you and I, when you're about to go do one of your Broadway shows that you're so great at, Afrin works great.
Yeah, give me right through it. A little bit.
They say you should use a saline-based.
A saline-based, yeah, something that's got.
That never works.
That
never
not
works.
have it for me.
But it never works.
Neti pot. What about a neti pot?
That's right. That's what I'm talking. Some of the singers,
it's gross.
It is gross.
It's all disgusting.
You got to like drain everything.
No.
So anyway, I came in with, but the Claritin seems to be working, and I want to go into. Help me out, Mike. I'm gonna let you go because I know you got.
I'm
a lot
in no
of
hurry. No, I'm in no hurry. All yours.
And it's like. Yeah, I want to have fun. It's going into Thanksgiving, and I'm with my friends here, and we're having a great time, and we're on TV. I said, come on, let's have fun. And then these wackos shooting each other. And then the Democrats, there's so many problems happening in the world that I can give you a list, starting with my passion, helping out the at-risk community.
Sure.
That are in what? Democratic-held cities. What does Adam Schiff do? There's fires. There's homeless.
Adam
who? I'm not going to even go there. I don't appreciate when the president does that.
Little joke. It's a little joke. Little vulgar joke.
But the fact of the matter is they're so obsessed. And if you're a constituent of Schiff or Pelosi or Maxine Waters and you're living in the communities which they represent and they are doing nothing for you, and you watch them on television and it's all a political takedown, why do they keep voting for these people, Mike?
Well, the good news is you got fresh blood coming in. You have the 3 chambers of government, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Listen, I mean, this she's holy cow! And
tell us about that.
It's a great story because she has had one misstep after another. Let's just put it this way: when you go from bartender to congresswoman, there's a learning curve. So the other day, she's on some podcast or she's making some video message, and she said, "We got to kick butt. We got to get first of all, when we get the 3 chambers of Congress." That's the first thing she said. But then she corrected herself. Yeah. She knew. Oh no, wait a minute! I got to think here. It's not 3 chambers of Congress. You know, the 3 chambers of government: the presidency, the House, and the Senate.
She said
and
that.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she said that because and you know what? I'm sorry. People had this weird penchant for like being very gracious about that mistake. Even her critics, I don't quite understand it, because the truth is, she didn't know.
Yeah.
That wasn't a misstatement. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
She's a dummy. She is a young, I've got socks older than her, and there's nothing wrong with being youthful, but the fact is, like they say in Texas, it's all hat and no cattle. There's nothing to her. She's a young, pretty, charismatic girl who's dumber than a bag of rocks. And she's going to be a member of Congress, and all she's going to know is to try to impeach the president.
And he asks us, are they filtering her? Who's watching the video? How does it get out?
Right.
How does she record it?
Yeah.
It gets wrong. Is there somebody watching this?
Surely
she does it herself, I guess.
She's got a team, I guess. I would hope. Somebody's got to get in there and say,
wait, Alexandria,
listen, let's think before we speak.
Yeah.
Because she's really made a lot of goofs, and you really do. I mean,
it's a little scary. You're right.
Because you got to realize that sometimes an election has a consequence. If you got somebody in there who's got no substance, just talking points, and she's vapid, and she's got nothing between the ears, that's a problem. But then again, is it that much worse than some of the other politicians we produced in New York?
Yeah.
De Blasio doesn't exactly seem like a Rhodes Scholar.
We'll let you go, but this is why there was the problem Thursday night with the ice storm and the snowstorm, because you have the progressive socialists running New Jersey. I don't like to attack anybody individually, but you have progressive socialists running New York City and New York State. They don't know how to run day to day. All they do is they climate change. All they're going to now criticize the president's anti-Trump and climate change. They have not one initiative, not helping out the poor. This NYCHA situation in New York.
Right.
How the heck, in the name of God, if they're going to have all these Democrats, do you neglect NYCHA, the housing authority in New York City? These folks have to live in squalor. On the taxpayer's dollar.
I started driving about a year or two ago again. I used to just Uber or take trains, but now I decided to get a car. You drive around Manhattan, it is like driving through a bomb-ravaged third world nation. It's so bad. The infrastructure here is so bad. This city, this is the greatest city in the world. Don't get me wrong. I get a bump in my heart starts racing a little bit every time I fly back into the city. Yeah. It's ridiculous how poorly run this city is. From the subways to the MTA to the Port Authority to the roads to the bridges, the tunnels. Listen, there are plenty of big cities in America who would never tolerate the way this city is run. And don't give me the malarkey, well, we have a lot of people. Yeah, we do have a lot of people. There ought to be a lot of government people who can figure out how to stay up with it, and they don't. Yeah. And it's a disgrace. And, someday, maybe before we die, there'll be a Republican government here on the city and the state level that knows how to get things done and runs things effectively and isn't an embarrassment.
Or an independent like Mike Bloomberg, and started with Rudy Giuliani.
That's right. Start with people who think out of the box, because it's embarrassing. I mean, I'm embarrassed when I've got people. Yeah. Dallas is a good example. I spent a lot of time in Dallas. It's a great town. It's not New York. I love New York. You look at the Dallas airport, the Dallas highways, the Dallas infrastructure. Guys, it's like Oz compared to New York City.
No state income tax.
Well, then no state income tax. They're not taxing you through the nose either. You're not getting killed at I'm at 53% right now, city, state, and federal, and that's good. I'm glad I'm getting my money's worth as I go through the Grand Canyon of 10th Avenue.
He's fired up.
I'm sorry.
He's fired up. You got to listen.
Amazon is appreciative.
And Amazon is glad. But you know what? Cuomo pushing back against the critics of the Amazon deal now. I hate to say this, he's got a point. You bring 25,000 jobs to the city. That's especially this city where a lot of people are fleeing the city to go to Texas. The companies are moving to Florida. Companies are moving out of New York. There's something to be said for a lot of the entities that are complaining about the tax breaks. They went chasing after them. When it benefits the New York Post, when it benefits Fox News.
I think the criticism is that the Democrats are not putting in public transportation. They have one train that goes out to Queens.
I know. Good luck with that.
Good luck. And Bezos could probably build a whole subway system himself, and something to think about.
But I've been bothered by how and I'm no Bezos fan at all, but I've been troubled by how it got personalized with Bezos. Yeah. The talking points I kept hearing was, well, Bezos just got ... Yeah. He's not. This isn't a personal deal for him. It's for a company. Yeah. One of the biggest companies in the world, and I think there is something to be said for finally a company coming here and investing in New York rather than fleeing to Florida.
10:05 must hear radio.
Thank you, sir.
On the Mike Gallagher show.
Stay happy.
Yeah, we're happy. We're good. Great. Always great to see you.
Crown maple there and get some.
Antioxidant and everything.
Antioxidants.
We're going to do that. Debbie's on the roads for you. Check it out.
Hey,
Traffic.
Debbie.
Thank you, Mike Gallagher.
Hi.
Debbie,
Hi, Mike.
how are we doing this morning? 8:53 on AM 970. The Answer.
Well, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, everybody. Let's go out to 78. It's busy eastbound exit 44 in Berkeley Heights. It looks like very busy traffic getting out through that area.